Good evening and thanks so much for tuning in. This is The Money Show on ET Now and my name is Alex Matthew. Like the name suggests, this show deals with everything to do with money. And we tell you how to earn more, we tell you how to invest the money that you're earning, and we also talk about how you can spend more efficiently. On today's program, we talk about three things. On the first part of the conversation, we speak about no-cost EMIs. Are they a good option to consider when you want that gadget that you absolutely can't wait for? And then we speak about gold. The World Gold Council has come up with a report on the quarter gone by, and it's speaking about the trends going forward, and perhaps you'll get a sense as to how gold prices are likely to move. And we end the conversation or today's program with a conversation about wellness, about the fact that a lot of us are working more than we used to. So if you're a workaholic, you absolutely need to listen to this. Let's get kick-started with the first conversation though, and that has to do with purchases. My first guest, in fact, is Amit Kukreja, who is a fee-only financial advisor and the founder of Amit Kukreja Advisory. Thank you so much, Amit, for taking the time. I suppose the question really is, if you've got something that you really want to buy, and this is the festive season, a lot of people want those gadgets, perhaps some things that are normally not really considered. You don't necessarily have the money that you need at that moment, but you can go for a no-cost EMI. Is that something that you should consider doing?
Yeah, so any purchase decision is driven by your social, cognitive, and emotional decision how you want to spend money and what you want to spend your money for. Now, no-cost EMI is a fancy term, but you have to assess and analyze what it means in terms of financials before you opt for that. So if you have a genuine need and if you really have an urgent need that you would like to fulfill ASAP, no-cost EMI can be considered, but you have to look at pros and cons of going that route in terms of making that purchase.
Okay, but how do they work? And there are essentially two types of EMIs. The traditional EMIs where you have to pay an interest, and the no-cost EMIs where you don't. So just so that people understand the option and difference between the two, no-cost EMIs would essentially be where there's an agreement between a financier and the person who, or the platform and you, right? And therefore, over a period of time, you split the purchase cost and you don't pay interest, right?
That's right. So in any EMI calculation, you're basically in that equated monthly installment, you're returning the borrowed money, a part of the borrowed money, and the interest on the borrowed money that you're supposed to pay to the lender. That's what an EMI constitutes, right? Or that's what it makes it up. Now, if you're availing a no-cost EMI option, it might come across to you like there is no interest on it at all. However, the underlying arrangement between the product seller and the lender of the money could be such that the commission that the guy is supposed to pass on to the buyer gets basically deducted or gets nullified, and that commission goes back to the lender as the interest. So behind the scene, it could be a money which could have come to you as a discount, has gone back into the interest, but on the surface, when you're paying the EMI for that gadget, it basically comes out to be the total number of which is equivalent to the cost of the product divided by the number of installments you are paying for that product purchase without any interest. So it's a little technical thing, but it is not that bad if you want to go that option. And I can elaborate more later why is that not a bad option.
No, let's talk about it. Let's talk about why it's not a bad option to consider. And then I also want to talk about the fact that when you are planning, some of these expenses are unplanned, Amit, and therefore, and there are different types that you can consider, right? Because ultimately the underlying asset that you're looking to acquire is what perhaps will determine whether or not the mode of purchase is appropriate.
Right. So, when you buy a gadget, you buy it for multiple reasons. One is the utility value or the functional reason. The other one could be a social or a lifestyle reason. Or the other one could be purely going for an enhancement or an upgradation of your existing gadget, right? Now, when the need is functional and when you know that it has to be thoroughly assessed and you don't have the capacity to pay for it, then you can avail a no-cost EMI option because it makes it easy for you to buy the gadget that you need it because it's your need. You need it for important reasons. Sometimes people buy for lifestyle reasons or social reasons, and there is joy associated with that purchase, right? When you make that purchase, remember, money is a tool. It's a resource to achieve what you want to achieve in terms of your wants and needs fulfillment. At the end of the day, you are able to fulfill your want or fulfill your need by spending that money. If you don't have a lump sum amount to make that purchase, but you want it for your lifestyle reasons or social reasons, you know that you can exercise the monthly EMI option or the no cost EMI option and still buy the gadget that you wanted now. So you get the joy, you get the happiness by making that purchase. So it's not wrong to achieve happiness or joy by spending some money. However, if you're a very calculative person, you want to make sure you get the best deal, you want to make sure you get the best discount, you want to make sure that the follow-up cost of buying this item is not too much, then you can do your calculation and assessment of how much discount you can get by spending money in lump sum and through what company's credit card and through which website, etc., etc. So people who are very calculative and who are very much focused on saving the money from the purchase, they can do a lot of assessment in terms of lump sum purchase versus no cost EMI option purchase. But people who don't have the capacity to buy, at least I'm happy that they have an opportunity to make a purchase through no cost EMI because they get the joy. They get the joy of using the money and acquiring a gadget, which is something very nice and beneficial for them because they can live a better life with that purchase. So I would say both sides have the pros and cons, and depends on what suits you. You can exercise that option.
So I do want to understand though, and I've met a few people, I've spoken to a few people, and this is not necessarily pertaining to just the idea of buying something, Amit, on a no-cost EMI, but this is the idea of swiping your card and being able to put. What I've found out is that people sometimes tend to get into a bit of a trap. Yeah. What are the pitfalls, according to you, of choosing to go in for a no-cost EMI that somebody should be aware of?
Yeah, so there are two parts in your question. The one part, which is a bigger part, is how much control you have on yourself with respect to spending. That control comes only when you have analyzed and assessed your overall income, saving, and investing cycle. Only when you know how much you can spend, and that's expense that you can identify, can happen only when you are very sure that this is the amount you want to invest. So once you have the income, once you invest, if you're left with the amount which is your expenditure or monthly expense, then there may not be much room to swipe your card and make a purchase. So people who are diligent enough to make sure that they understand where is my every rupee coming from and where is my every rupee going to invest and what is it accumulating, they will be very conscious of such expenses. But if you do not have a good grip on your expense pattern or investment pattern, you are very likely to be tempted and you are very likely to be fallen in this trap of making these purchases. You will see if you have a lump sum available or a bigger amount available, you will go and do a lump sum purchase. And you will see that if you have a smaller amount available and you have a pattern of saving that amount every month, you will go and make a no cost EMI purchase, right? So staying on top of your spending pattern, your investing pattern, your income pattern, and your saving pattern is very essential to control your impulsive shopping, which is very likely to happen with people who are not staying on top of their investments. Now comes the no-cost EMI option. A lot of my clients, they say, because I have the surplus left at the end of the month, I buy stuff if I like it. And sometimes I buy stuff on a no-cost EMI option because I like it. I mean, this is my lifestyle, and I had surplus cash lying in my savings account, but it was not good enough an amount so that I can make a lump sum purchase. So They went for the EMI option. So people who are not fond of saving and investing, they are likely to fall in this no-cost EMI or EMI-based expenditure um, 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 trap of buying stuff. But people are staying on top of their investing and saving and expense income and expenditure and saving and investment pattern. They will normally hold themselves back because they know there is a larger goal of using this money. They know what the importance of this money is when the saving is deferred, the expenditure is deferred to a bigger goal of the family in the future. That's my answer to your two questions, Alex, that you asked. I might have gone on a tangent. Sorry about that.
Now, no, I think it's very important to talk about these things because, while you were talking about that, Amit, I also got this really distinct memory from when I was a child and how my parents dealt with purchases. And I don't know if that was the case in your household, but at the time, I think in the early 2000s, maybe in the late 90s, credit was not necessarily a good word. I think things have changed quite a bit in that is an option that you certainly should consider. It is in several cases smart to do, but is there an ideal way to go about a large purchase? At least I think that might have rubbed off on me. So when I want something, say a PlayStation or a mobile phone, I spend a couple of months or 3 months saving up how much I would need and buy it outright. In some cases, that tends to cool off the fervor that I have for a particular product as well. But is there an ideal way of going about something like this?
There are two ways you can tackle this. First is understand the cost of borrowing. Remember, the cost of borrowing is not healthy if you're borrowing money to spend on a depreciating asset. That's a double-edged sword. You're not only paying the interest on the borrowed money, but you're also owning an asset which is depreciating in value with time. So that's one big aspect you need to keep in mind. What are you borrowing for? Are you borrowing for a depreciating asset or an appreciating asset? An appreciating asset, because of the increase in the value, is going to overcome or offset some of the cost of borrowing, and you might have a net plus or net positive effect from that. So that's fundamental thing you need to look at. Appreciating asset versus depreciating asset, which is making you borrow money. Second, do you really need it? Like, ask yourself 2-3 times, do I really need it? Simply my friend has it doesn't mean I should have it too. Maybe I should defer my purchase to 2 months later and then revisit whether I really need it. Maybe I should defer my purchase to 6 months and see maybe I should buy an enhanced or an advanced or an upgraded product. So the fundamental question is, if we are going to fulfill all our wants in that manner quite frequently, very soon we will not have money for our needs. You need to make sure that you are always having money for your needs and wants come later. But the moment you start indulging and you start spending money for your wants, you will be running short of money for your needs. So make a simple calculation of how much money you need on a regular basis and what is the budget you're keeping aside for your lifestyle expenses or for your indulgence. And only based on that budget, make a call, but also make a call that if you already have a gadget or a toy or a gaming station or a console, then why is there a stronger reason to upgrade it? Sometimes we can defer our wants and desires to later so that we can buy a better product or not buy a product at all because we need the money for other important stuff. That's my 2 cents on that.
Okay. Just to close things out then, and to reinforce the whole idea that we began with, which is no-cost EMIs. In your opinion, buy now or rather buy now, pay later, that whole experience. If you were talking about regular EMIs, taking a personal loan in certain cases to buy something and no cost, would it be a gradation then? You should ideally save and buy something that you need. If you don't have it and you really need that thing, then you buy it on no cost, and then the last option would be to take a loan?
That's correct, Alex. So So if you really need something, or even say you want it because of your lifestyle reasons and you don't have the capacity to pay upfront, you can exercise no cost option or no EMI cost option. If you don't need it, don't just borrow money, because you have to remember one more thing, that when you're borrowing money, even if you're exercising no EMI or no cost EMI option, you are building your credit score. There is a score which is being tracked, and any default can cost you on CIBIL score. So as long as you're borrowing money and you're paying back in time, your score is intact. Do that. But if you are borrowing too frequently, like this, then your score may get adversely impacted, and the lending or borrowing capacity for a bigger loan in future may get impacted as well, because they will look at you as a frequent borrower, or a borrower who is very lifestyle driven and may default in future. So you have to look at your borrowing capacity, how the CIBIL or the other credit bureaus are observing such borrowing patterns of the borrowers. So assess from that point of view also.
Fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, Amit, and I think a lot of things that people can bear in mind over the course of the next few days when we hit the thick of the festive season. On that note, I wish you a very happy festive season to you and your family. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Alex, and happy Diwali to you too. Bye.
Wish you the same. All right, on that note, we're slipping into a short break. More on the other side, so do stay tuned.